Thank you so much for coming live. Break the chains. I'm so excited for today and to have you all here. And if you could drop in the chat where you're from, unless you're driving, drop in the chat where you're from and what you do. And then I am going to share my screen. Make sure I have my chat up. Okay, can everyone see the screen okay? Okay, perfect. So breaking the chains live. Today, we are going to go through an immersive experience to uncover the chains that are holding you back and keeping you small. We're going to literally step inside your brand for a full sensory experience, and we're going to connect to your bigger vision. So you are here today because you are ready to break the chains and you are ready to explore the depths of your brand identity, yourself, and your bigger vision, and all of those times that you've just tried to do it and try to do it and try to do it again, and you are just ready to make it happen. We're going to activate your brand voice. And again, we are going to take you through a full sensory experience today. My name is Priscilla Seitz, your brand director and identity coach. And ladies, I am the only brand designer that you should be working with, period. I will not only take your brand aesthetics to a whole new level, but we will be adding depth through an immersive sensory brand experience. And when you work with me, we go to the depths. We do the identity work because you could have the brand aesthetics. You could have your logo, your color palette, you could have your website, you could have your videos, your brand shoot. But if you are not the woman behind the brand, there is still going to be a disconnect from how you're showing up, whether that's in your marketing, your social media, for even showing up for your brand shoot. There is a piece that I have found working with women in the industry that if you are not the woman behind the brand, your brand is only going to take you for so long. So I am here to help you today. I have pivoted myself. I have reinvented myself so many times. And I want you to start thinking about your identity as identity seasons, because every season can look different and you can choose to pivot at any moment that you desire. And so my mission is to build a life and a brand that is the whole damn vibe for you. I also am a Pommy mommy. This is Mufasa and Isabel, my Pomeranians. And I also have my master's degree in media and design. I'm an IFBB professional bodybuilder, and I sing classic country music. I actually sang downtown Nashville for a short period of time. It was amazing. And also, I am about to launch a new brand. So we're going to dive in also how you can have a personal brand as well as a conceptual brand. And I'm really going to show you and take you to the depths of what a conceptual brand will look like today. And hi, Jenna. Love you too. Awesome. I'm so happy to see you ladies inside. So first thing is first, as a personal brand, drop a 1 in the chat if you are your personal brand and you are showing up as the face of your brand. I would love to know. Perfect. Anna, Brittany, yep. Diane. Okay, so I want you to ultimately know that people pay for you first. They will pay for your product and service second. So when doing this work and really diving into the identity and the woman behind the brand, this is the one thing that I see a lot of brands go wrong because they are so focused in the masculine, the logistics, and the business side of things where, yes, it is so crucial and important to have the strategy piece of your brand. But when it comes to being a personal brand, especially in the online space, people are investing in you. They are investing in who you are as a person and who you are. Like, it doesn't matter what you're really selling. They just want to be in your energy field. So if you have an energy and if you are leading yourself, oops. Let's see. Okay, there you go. So if you are desiring to really have a community that is just your raving fans, and how do I mute everybody? Um,
Some business ladies, it's like a free
1 second. I'm gonna make sure
free
everything's
hour workshop.
good. How do I mute?
No, it's a train station helped out with the thing over since one of the carpenters.
Oh, nice.
Okay,
I thought you might.
if that works. Okay.
No, go to the train station.
Yeah, it didn't make it, I mean, it didn't matter if I was,
Okay. Someone help me
it's
out
not like I
here.
got some big advantage, I mean, last year, like.
How do I mute all
Maybe
participants?
If you click on participants on the list of participants and next to their name, I think if you hit the microphone, that should mute them.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Try that.
Mute all. There we go. Thank you, Anna. I'm like, how do I have not had to do that before. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I really want you to dive in and think about when you are selling something, how can you actually create this irresistible energy and how are you leading behind the scenes? So that's where I find a lot of disconnects where women are just, they are showing up and you have all the strategy and there is this disconnect though where maybe you're not leading yourself in certain places that you really desire. And it comes down to creating a realm that your audience and your ideal client wants to be a part of, that they actually see themselves in. So if you can show yourself and how you're leading, that is going to show and be an extension of your personal brand. And that is one of the main things where I find the selling without selling, because they can see themselves in you. They see themselves in your brand. And there's something that you're doing or how you're leading that they're desiring to have that they are not there yet. So I want you to think about when whether you're building your personal brand or maybe you're launching an offer, how can I actually create the identity of even my offer for this specific person and make its own little world that someone wants to be a part of? Or think about making a TV show. Like, how can I make this like a fun TV show? And so I want to ask you today, is anyone in here, you can put a 1 through 5, how are you feeling in your brand or your business, maybe even life? Like, do you feel like you're showing up as two different people? Do you feel like you show up for your business and there's certain things you want to post, but you're afraid maybe your audience is going to have a different reaction or you're going to be judged? Or maybe there's like something that you really want to launch and you haven't let it out to play yet. I would love to know from 1 to 5 being 1, you're like totally chained in the closet. You're like show up and then you hide is maybe a 2. You'll show up a few times and then you hide. And then 5, you're like, yeah, I have those last few chains that I'm just kind of unshackling from. Jenna, 2 to 3-ish. Love it. Diane, 5. Yes, I see you, Diane. Love it. 2 to 3, a 4. Love this. Okay, perfect. So yeah, I just really want to focus today and diving in. We are going to head into our immersive experience. And so with this, I really wanted you to explore the depths of where this chain even is, what it is that maybe you didn't even know was holding you back, and breaking free from it today. Also, I'm going to take you through walking through your brand. You will be literally stepping inside your brand and seeing yourself as this liberated, alive woman that I know you are deep down inside. So I would love for you to get comfy. You can leave your camera on, or if you prefer to turn it off, it's totally up to you. And I want everyone to start by taking 5 deep breaths. Plant your feet on the floor. You can put one hand on your heart and the other hand on your womb. And I want you to feel into your body. sink deeper in your chair, or if you prefer to move to the floor. I want you to wiggle your toes and scan your body inch by inch, starting at your feet, to your calves, up your thighs, to your womb, where your hand is. And another full deep breath here with your hand over your belly, holding your womb, your sacral. And I want you to continue scanning, breathing bigger through your rib cage. Take a really big breath through your ribs and your chest. Diaphragm, rib, chest, real big breath. And continue scanning. Feel your spine to your chest and landing on your heart. And feeling your heartbeat, beat by beat. I want you to take a moment to pause and hold your heart here. I want you to think about something that is holding you back. Is this limitation a person, a past experience? Maybe it's your own thoughts. Something that led you to believe this limitation was true. What does it look like? What does this limitation feel like in your body? Is there a certain place in your body that you're feeling it more? The chains are there, heavy, weighted. And I want you to mirror how this looks with your body. Are you closed off, hunching over? Maybe you're feeling like you want to curl in a ball. Maybe your throat feels closed. Are these chains of limitations wrapped around you? Where in your body do you feel chained? Are they locked tightly? Are they keeping you from fully expressing the woman you truly are? And as you think about this person or this experience that is holding you back, whether it was from your past, in your current reality, I want you to meet this person or go back to this specific experience. And I want you to speak to them. Meeting your current self to this past self, and feel into why it holds so much weight on you. Why do they hold so much weight on you? How heavy is it? Does it feel heavier anywhere in your body? I want you to put your hands and move them where they feel most locked up, wherever you feel most chained. And take a deep breath here. When I count to 3, I want you to break away from it. I want you to break free, whether it's a person, a past experience, maybe it's something now. And when I count down, I want you to sharply push your hands away from your body as hard as you need to break the chains that are holding you back. 3, 2, 1. Break them away. Harder. Sharper. Break the chains. And as you're breaking these chains, I want you to thank this person or this experience for showing up as protection. Maybe it was a lesson from source, from God, an opportunity to break a generational pattern, or an energetic experience for you to understand your truth and to speak up for you, your lineage. I want you to lovingly release this person or this experience and go back to holding your heart. Drop further into your body and take 3 deep breaths here. What is your heart saying? What is your higher self waiting for you to now step into? You see a bright white light above you, and you follow this light from your heart up your neck, around your ears, beaming over your face, to the top of your head as you look into this guiding light. I want you to follow this light. This light walks you into a movie theater. You buy your tickets to the hottest movie out, and it's starring you. You get your popcorn and your snacks. I know we all love our snacks. I know, Jenna, you're getting your snacks. You walk down the theater aisle, and the lights are guiding your steps to your seat. You get comfortable in that red cushion seat, and the previews begin. What previews of your past self have desired to show up in your brand, in your business, or your life, but they weren't quite full out? And as you watch these previews of yourself, each time you worked so hard to show up for yourself, your family, and your business. And I want you to sit in gratitude for each of these previews, each of these glimpses of success that you have experienced, of loss you've experienced, of love you've experienced. And the lights begin to fade and dimmer, and the curtains begin to open. And as the curtains become 2, you see yourself on the big screen. This is your brand identity playground. You can be or do whatever you want to do. What are you wearing? What are you doing? And how are you acting? How does your body feel now? Without limitations. As you move around on the screen, no chains are keeping you locked away. You are in your most alive, embodied, liberated, and expressive self. What does it look like to fully show up as you, your authentic self? I want you to feel your body, listen to your breath. What is your body desiring to show up as? I want your body to meet this vision. You are her. You are one. Inside your movie, you begin to walk down the street to a store to go shopping. And as you walk down the street, I want you to think about if your brand had a storefront and you walked into your own store. Is it a boutique shop, a studio, your own practice, an agency, maybe a franchise? And when you open the door, you are immediately hit with a scent. What do you smell as you walk through the doors of your brand store? You start to browse and begin touching items. What do they feel like? What textures are on the walls? What does the ceiling look like? Does someone come to greet you? How do they greet you? Do you notice music playing? Are there sounds or is there a song on as you continue to browse in your store, touching and feeling and smelling your brand? Do you want to stay in this store forever? A customer walks in. What are they like? You begin to interact with them. What are they looking for? Do they walk blindly around your store, grabbing a few things to put them back? Or do you take them by the hand to show them that you're the one thing that they need to have in their business and in their life to take them to that next level that they're desiring to go to? That next healing path that they desire to have. This one thing is you and your services. It's the one thing they have to have in their life because you know how it will serve them and their family generations down the line. It doesn't stop with just them. How does that feel in your body? To know that you're not just helping one person, but the ripple effect of your dreamiest client. This customer leaves the store and tells a friend how amazing you are and that your services were life-changing and that they have to go to meet you too. You have referral after referral. And all of a sudden, you have a line outside your door of clients flooding in just to be in your energy, just to be inside your store, to learn from you, to cheer for you, to invite more friends to come inside, shopping from you, every nook and cranny of your store. How does it feel to have a lifetime client that tells everyone around you and about your services, and your referrals are just through the roof? How does it feel to be so grounded in your energy and in your vision that just by simply being you, you can change the world? You now have a line out the door of dream clients. What do they look like? How do they enter your store? Are you greeting each of them? Do you have a team? What are they experiencing in interacting with you and your services or your products? How does it feel to hold all of these clients that were waiting around the corner of your store in lines just to work with you? And as your clients exit the store and you begin to shut down for the day, you are in awe of what you have created and what you continue to build. I want you to take 5 deep breaths here, sitting in gratitude for what you've created, who you're being, who you continue to evolve to be. And as you exit the store and close up for the day, the curtains begin to close. And you exit your identity playground movie. I want you to come back to your body, move your fingers, flutter your eyes. Can open them and come back to the room. You can shake it out, release whatever energy that you need to get out. And you can put your screens back on when you're ready. Hi, Noelle. Jasmine. Does anyone want to share whether it was what their store was like or where they felt chains were holding them back the most? And you don't have to share the experience or person per se, but I would love to know like where in your body maybe you even felt it. And you could share your bigger vision or something maybe you saw that you didn't realize before in your brand. You can come off mute or drop it in the chat.
Share. Like,
Yeah.
okay, well, first of all, like I thought that was an amazing experience, like a very, very different approach for like how I've done any kind of branding, and it really brought it to life where I was like, oh, the store does feel different. It looks different than anyone else's store. And like thinking about it in that terms was like it shifted like the perception of my brand. And I'm like, oh, I know like what it would look like. It wouldn't like the things that I'm like drawn to and attracted to wouldn't necessarily be in my store because it's not me. And so I was like, I love that imagination of like visualizing what is it because it makes the experience like real, right? Like there are different elements. I'm like, oh yeah, I was watching a TikTok with like Jeffree Star's makeup store in like Wyoming, and I'm like, that was a cool store, but none of that stuff would be in my store.
Yeah, exactly. And even thinking about beyond like that, thinking about your client experience. And I know, Diane, for you, systems and the experience is big. And so even at each of the touch points that you are interacting with your clients, what does that look like for them? What does it feel like? And if you can really hone in on the feeling and continue to keep them in that feeling, you could deliver like something mediocre, even though I know none of you in this room would, but you know how it goes where you feel like, am I ready? And it doesn't matter what you're offering, what you're selling, but as long as you are providing this hands down full sensory experience for your client, that is what make or breaks the difference, especially in the online space right now, because we are saturated. There are more sophisticated buyers in the space right now. So how can we amplify your brand with the senses and a sensory experience? So now that you all have gone inside your stores and you have broken the chains to whatever held you back, has been keeping you small, I want to dive in here what a sensory experience could look like for your brand. And I want you to think about the 6 components. Well, there's 5 senses, but I have 6 components of a sensory brand experience. And so the identity is number 1, what we just went through and how you saw yourself on screen. Did she look different? Drop a 1 in the chat if who you saw on screen looks different than how you've been showing up. I would love to know. And that's your expression, your personality, your vibe, your energy, and how you are showing up for what you love to do, what your business is, and going into visuals. Of course, in your brand, we want to make sure that your visuals, I always like to say, align your values to your visuals. So this identity piece is still number 1. And making sure you know your core values. What are your core values? Because your ideal client is going to align and connect and also buy from you because they have those core values and they're aligned. So I want you to think about too, when you're creating your visuals, your fonts, your images, your brand colors and aesthetics, does this align with my personality? Does this align with my personal brand core values? And anything that you create, even if it's a program, make sure it aligns to your heart and your core values, because you could come up with something that you think is great, maybe you know all the things, but is it going to be death to launch it? Like, so making sure even that your programs align with your core values of your personal and your brand. Because you could also have a personal brand or even a conceptual brand, which a conceptual brand would be very themed. It may be just a piece of you. It may not be all of you, but it is almost like a sub brand, and it could be a theme. And so you want to make sure whether you have the personal brand or a conceptual brand that they each have their own values and that you define those so you can have visuals that reflect. You can have visuals that your audience are going to be drawn to, the energy of you that your audience just wants to be in your proximity. Audio. So I would say right now in the online space, the more you could use your voice on top of your reels, I would say if you're making videos, of course, talking head videos, but even if you don't want to show your face and you're still like figuring out the talking head videos, write out what you want to say and do a voiceover over your reel. Instead of picking a trending audio, you could still put the trending audio lower in the back, but I would say to add your voice, because it's one thing, there's a study that when you read something, you also should listen to it. And maybe it's an audiobook, because there's different consumption types and different people learn, and they'll hear something, whether they read it, they might take it in, or if somebody's more audio, they're going to feel the depth and the passion in your voice, or they're going to hear it faster if you are using your voice. And Diane asked, do you suggest a personal brand versus conceptual for different types of businesses or offers? So definitely for your offers, I would say making a concept and an identity for each of your offers, because that way you really can speak to the one person that you know needs to be inside it. Maybe there's like an overall umbrella of your ideal client that you know you can work one-on-one with, but if you are offering like a group program, this group program could have a specific concept or theme that you go all out, you make fun, and it's speaking directly to that one person that needs to be in the room, while you still have your other personal brand content and your one-on-one or whatever that looks like that you're offering outside of your group program that they still relate to on your personal post. Yeah, Noelle, I love that idea too, because it's like, especially with you, Noelle, and your business in Bubbly, you could have different themes for the months. You could have holiday themes and make it really fun. For example, last December, I did reindeer games, brand and business edition, and I made it really fun. I took like holiday games, but put a twist on it for branding. And Shannon's in the room. She was actually here, and it was so fun. So those are some ideas, even if you're doing in-person events as well. I know some of you are doing in-person. So how can we add taste in the online space? You're like, wait, Priscilla, that's a sense. I want you to think about, so what comes to mind for me, are you the cutie orange of your industry? So I think about whenever I eat a cutie orange, I'm like peeling back the layers. There's a texture around the layer, peeling back the layers. And maybe it's an apple for you. Maybe it's a different type of food or fruit. But have you ever just had one of those days? It's like sunny and 75, breezy out. You're in your car and the window's down. And like maybe you have this apple or this cutie orange. You're peeling back the layers and you are biting into the juiciest, like fresh, this orange that you're just like in this moment of gratitude. And you just are like, so like, you know, when you're just really thirst quenched too, you could feel this one just even with water, to be so grateful to have water, right? And I want you to think about like, how can your brand do that for your client and your audience? And so with taste, you want to do this through messaging, images, video, and you could use it with textures in the background. And if you're also doing in-person events, what can I add snack wise that maybe is my signature snack? Maybe I'm making videos or I'm on stories and I always have this cutie orange with me. And now that's a part of my brand. That is my snack I always have in my hand, a hot cup of coffee, of course. Like, you know, it could be anything that you just love that you could start incorporating. And then when you launch your group programs, maybe it's something as simple as sending a $5 coffee gift card, Noelle, that you're like, you know, share a coffee with me. Thank you for joining. So how can we add this in that client experience again and deepen the connection with your clients and an audience that are inside it? For scents, same thing. I have an actual candle that I made that is my brand scent. And mine is specifically amber, vanilla bean, and teakwood musk. I wanted it to be a little sexy. Vanilla, they typically say is like sexy. I have a certain lotion I'll put on. So maybe like the scent isn't as digital, but it's still being in the energy of your brand. Are you living and breathing your brand? If you're having an in-person event, maybe you have a certain scent that is very subtle at your event. For Noel, we'll go back to the coffee. You're brewing coffee and they are connecting that because that's a part of subconscious branding. And when you can do that, if they walk into a coffee shop and they just got done consuming your content, they're going to smell the coffee and then they're going to be like, oh, Noelle just launched this. I have to get in her program. I was distracted. I forgot to get the link, or maybe they were teeter-tottering on it. So these little tiny things are actually an addition to amplify your brand for subconscious branding as well. Even with maybe you have that cutie orange in your video and they go to the store, they see the cutie oranges, and then they're like, I have to get in Priscilla's program. I remember. So it's these subconscious things that you also could be and have a part of your branding that they're thinking of you at all times, not just when they're online scrolling, but if they're in the market, if they're listening to a song, if you have a specific song. I've been currently using every IG live that I post. I use the same song on the promo, on the story. So now it has its own brand song. So if someone hears that song on the radio, they're going to think about, oh, Priscilla's Breaking the Chains IG live series. I want to go back and listen to that, or I want to be a part of it. So these are ways that you can add depth and amplify your brand through a sensory experience. And so I want you to think about, like, how can I personalize this and how can I actually take my consumer experience to the next level? Does anyone have questions or want to chat an idea out quick? You can drop it in the chat if you'd like.
I just wanted to say, Priscilla, I love this perspective because I've always like thought of things like this, but I've never really seen it as like a whole brand. And I just think, yeah, how great is that? Because when I think back to even other people that their brand is very clear to me, I can think of, which is so funny because like there's one guy that I'm like, every time I see a donut, I'm like, this is totally him. And you know, and I totally think about him every single time I see a donut, which is, you know, I just never really, because like you said, it's very subconscious, right?
Exactly.
So
It's
I love
subtle, and it could be anything super subtle, but it does make a difference, especially when we are in the online space and so many people might have something similar, but how do we make it our own? How do we deepen that? And so even like what you're wearing, if you're creating your videos, like for me, I have my chains. I went to brunch with the girls last weekend. I had my chains on and they're like, oh, girls breaking her chains, you know? So it's now become a staple, a part of my brand. So those are some ways too. If you're making videos, maybe you have something that is a part of your brand, whether that's your like coffee mug, maybe that's a piece of jewelry, maybe when your background. So even my background to my Zoom, I have leather, and my brand, I have textures. As you see in my slides, I have this like leopard in the background. It gives it some more depth, and you'll see the texture, and the leopard is a very much so part of my brand. And the symbolism of the leopard is fierce. And I want all of my clients to feel fucking fierce. So there are actual intentional strategies behind certain things in your brand. So I want you to start thinking, you know, how can I add that into my brand or amplify these things that I already have in my brand? Feeling the breaking of the chains. Yes. So with that said, today is the day, and I am hosting a funeral. This is the funeral of the century, and this is your invitation. Coming out hard like shake the bitch that play baby face that bitch I don't play pet pictures. This is the death of playing small. So we are breaking the chains. This is your invitation to break the chains. I am hosting a 4-month identity mastermind and immersive sensory brand retreat. This retreat is designed for you to unleash, this is the whole full experience, identity unleashing, and really diving in, like where, as you felt today, those chains that are holding you back at this live experience, no more. Once you leave this retreat, no more. Those chains are going to be broken. I desire for each of you to hit that six-figure and beyond identity and to become the woman behind the brand. So inside this 4-month mastermind and identity, this is for the woman who wants to break the chains for what's holding you back and keeping you small, to create a sensory brand that makes people feel something more. Everything that we just talked about, how we can amplify. And would you say a one-on-one call or a brand audit would be something that you would desire for that to really like get into your own brand for a sensory experience? If you feel that, drop a 1 in the chat for me. I would love to know even if you would like a one-on-one to just dive into the depths of sensory branding with your brand. If you desire to play bigger and bolder and unapologetic in your leadership, in your most authentic expression, this room is for you. This room is where you're going to unshackle from disembodiment, from limiting beliefs and judgment, maybe even judgment from yourself. And inside the 4 months, we're going to have one-on-one calls. So I will come on for a leadership call. This will be building out your premium brand and your identity. We'll have an activation call. So just like what we did today, I actually have healers and leading industry expanders that are going to come in, EFT tapping. We'll do some more hypnosis. We'll do expressive content and embodiment work in the body. Then I also am going to have a girls' night in because I want to hear your wins. I want to know what you're struggling with. And I want all of us to support each other, goal setting, accountability. So we actually will have girls' night in and a private Telegram community where we all can connect and you can explore. And maybe there's something you want to post, but you're not quite sure yet. And you want to post it in the chat. And then we will be building out your brand identity foundation and X factor build out. So if you still are feeling like there's just something that you know what you are envisioning, and there's still this one part of you that you're like, this is my X factor. I desire this. I want this. I want you to come inside. We also are going to have a 4-day retreat, and you know me, I go big. We are not playing small. So this 4-day retreat, I envision, and I'm just so excited. I'm going to have a welcome dinner for you to write your eulogy and come to the funeral of the century. We're going to be releasing and breaking the chains on day 2, and think like destructive room. Have you ever been to one of those things or seen where people are like breaking things? That is what we're going to be experiencing. We are going to actually be changing DNA levels inside this retreat. We'll be doing journaling and sharing. And then day 3, we're actually going to be entering the Red Leopard Lounge. So the Red Leopard Lounge, we are going to be doing mirror work. We're going to be doing voice activation. We're also going to have a primal. I have a embodiment and relationship coach coming where she's going to help take us through some primal movements and really like tapping into some of that dark feminine. Maybe there's a side of you, that sexy side that you're like really have been pushed away. Maybe you're so far in your masculine, you're like, I just like want her to come out to play. So Red Leopard Lounge is going to explore that as we're exploring all the other archetypes and parts of our identity that maybe you have suppressed. Maybe you feel like I'm a mom, I'm all these things, but you have forgotten like who you are to your core. And then on day 4, we are going to be doing an embodiment shoot, whether you want this for your brand or you want this just for you. I have a boudoir photographer coming, and it's going to be a sensory experience as well. So I'm actually going to do something really fun and cool to make it, again, an immersive experience for you. And so if you are ready, this is your rebirth. This is the death of playing small. So because you're alive today, I have pre-sale bonuses. I'm going to be including 3 one-on-one calls with me so we can explore your own specific brand and identity. And you can choose whether this is before, middle, end. Maybe you want them back to back because you're really ready to dive in. The actual retreat is going to be November. So we start October 7th and November 11th through the 14th is the actual retreat. I also will be offering a full brand audit, and I don't just mean aesthetics. I will walk through from your buyer journey, from Instagram, if that's where you're marketing, if there's anywhere else you're marketing. This is going to actually be a full in-depth client experience where I'm going to take myself through your client experience and be able to provide feedback to where maybe there are some identity gaps, maybe there's some branding gaps or areas of opportunity that we can really amplify your whole client experience for that full sensory brand. And then I also have top 3 pinned Canva posts. So I know all of us are like, what do we post? I don't know what to post. And your top 3 posts, I have the about me, I have ways to work with me with all your offers, and then I have whatever freebie that you're offering. So those will be the top 3 that I have actual Canva templates that you can swap out with your brand. All the info is in there. You can swap out your photos. So if you think this is for you,
This is your eulogy to break the chains of judgment and fear of what others might think of you, the chains of guilt from outcomes that were not in your control, guilt from breaking promises to yourself, the chains of shame of your past, shame of unaligned choices, relationships, and shame others projected onto you. The chains of ignoring days you felt trapped but didn't use your voice to break free. The chains that you hide and no one else can see. You are the only vessel for your voice to speak volumes. It is through your truth, your expression, and exploration of self that you unshackle and awaken the most alive, liberated, and embodied version of you. Bringing break the chains to what's holding you back. Link by link. It is then we all break free.
I hope you heard the audio okay. I know Diane said earlier it was kind of in and out, but this is the death of playing small. We are writing your eulogy. I am inviting you to the funeral of the century. It is out. It's time to play. So if you would like to come to my retreat and come explore the depths of not just your identity, but building a full sensory brand, I am going to drop in if